We're very excited to be joined by Darnell Nurse of the Edmonton Oilers and a Don Mills Flyers graduate. But most exciting, we have some of our very own players with us today. So we have Dexter Irving, who is part of the under-15 Scarborough Ice Raiders AA team. He plays defense. Then we have Nathan Williams, who is a goaltender for the under-15 Scarborough Ice Raiders. And then we have Nathan's brother as well, Nolan Williams, who is a defenseman for the under-11 AA Toronto East Enders. So you guys are going to take it away. Also, go ahead.
Hey, Darnell. So my first question is, who taught you how to play hockey?
My dad actually taught me how to play hockey. He can't portray that, so he learned how to play hockey at a young age. He came when he was like 8, and I think hockey was one of the first sports he learned. So he ended up teaching me when I was, I started skating around 3 or 4 years old. I would find a little outdoor rink, so he taught me.
And my second question is, I did some research on your parents, and I found out that your dad played in the CFL and your mom played college basketball. So how did you choose hockey with such different sports?
Yeah, I wanted to play football, but my dad wouldn't let me play football. He said it was too dangerous. So he let me play hockey where you could hit and fight. Doesn't make much sense in my mind. But and then my mom played basketball. Yeah, so I tried to play basketball. I just wasn't that good at basketball. So I stuck to hockey.
Yeah.
Hey, Darnell.
Hey, Dexter.
My question is, what is one piece of advice that you'd give any young hockey player?
I would say I would say two things. One, have fun because it's a sport, and even today playing in the NHL, I enjoy every day going to the rink. Some days aren't great after you lose. You have tough practice, and we gotta enjoy it because you get to play a sport that you love, and not everyone's as fortunate to be able to play and put on skates. And on top of that, just work hard. I know it sounds very cliche, but no matter if you play AA, AAA, in the East Coast Hockey League, in the AHL, it doesn't matter your path. There's so many different paths to make it to the NHL, and the only thing that really separates people from the NHL, from people that don't make it in the NHL, is the amount of work that they put in each and every day. And I think that's something that it might be cliche, but it's so true. Like, I look around our room, there's people that have all kinds of different paths to make it to the NHL, and the ones that made it to the NHL just outworked every single person that they played with or played against.
Thanks.
No problem.
Another one of my questions is, who is your inspiration to play hockey?
I had a lot of inspirations to play hockey. Like I said, my dad, that was one of the first sports that he played. Matt Sundin, when I was younger, he was wearing the big 1-3 for the Toronto Maple Leafs, so he was an inspiration. And then I think the biggest inspiration for myself was Jerome McGinley, because at the time he was obviously just one of the best players in the league playing in Calgary. And when I watched him on TV, I could, I pictured myself as Jerome McGinley. So he was one of my biggest inspirations to play.
I have another question for you. What drove you to go to the NHL?
I think one was my love for the game. I think you have to have that first and foremost, is love for the game. And then on top of it, like, I think my drive came, I got to the NHL because I earned everything. I didn't get there just based solely on skill or being able to score goals or anything like that. Like, the way I got to the NHL was, every opportunity that I got, just like I said before, just trying to outwork every single person next to me and bring a type of compete and level of edge to my game each and every night that was kind of undeniable. So that's kind of what drove me to the NHL and pushed me there, was coming out every night and competing, and then growing my game from there in the summertime. Putting in the work, whether I wanted to work on my shot or stick handling or skating. Like, I become very obsessive over that. So that's kind of what drove me to the NHL.
Hey, it's Nathan now. What are some tips to get into the NHL or a scholarship for university?
Yeah, I think you made a really important point there, scholarship to university, because hockey can open up a path to the NHL for sure, but education is such a big thing too. You can play hockey and put yourself in a position to go to school and get a scholarship and you know work at work at some of the best jobs in the world through using your hockey to get you there and into the education. So yeah, I think some tips. Obviously, when you're speaking about at all of your ages, I think one of the biggest things to recognize, you can't just focus on hockey. You also have to focus on school and having good marks and being a good student. That's so important. And I know my parents, when I was growing up, they were huge on marks. They was always telling me that I couldn't play hockey if I didn't have my marks up. So I had my marks up to make sure that I could go play hockey. So that's a huge tip, because the attention to detail in hockey is one thing, but if you're able to do it in the classroom and in everything in life, to be able to not just force yourself to be a great hockey player, try to be the best player in your team, in your league, but if you try to force yourself to be the best student in your class, the best student in your grade, and have that drive to also be that in the in school, that's going to help you so much, not only trying to get to the next level in hockey, because a lot of teams are looking into your background and how hard you worked in school, but on top of that, just in life, because it sets a lot of good principles for the future.
My second question is, when you got to the NHL, was there anything that surprised you? Like anything that you didn't expect from the NHL?
When I got to the NHL, I didn't know how good the players would be. And I know it sounds crazy to get to the NHL, but you play in junior, and you play, for myself, I played in the World Juniors, and so I got to play with all the best players in the country and play against all the best up and coming players. But then I got to the NHL, and just every single person, whether you're playing against a fourth liner or first liner, the goalies, whether you're playing against the starting goalie or the backup goalie, every single person is one of the best players, and one of the best players at their jobs that they specialize in each and every night. So you can't take any shifts off, because you think you're going out there against a fourth liner, and all of a sudden, 10 seconds into a shift, you're hemmed into your D zone, and then they score, just because everyone has an amount of skill and work ethic that got them to the NHL. And on top of that, you have to raise it to a whole nother level to stay in the NHL. So the people that you're playing against are as good as you think they're going to be. They're even better.
My second question is, who do you find is the hardest player to play against, and why?
Ooh, the hardest player to play against. I mean, Nathan McKinnon probably is up there for the toughest players, just because he's a bully with the puck. He's very hard on it. He's wins all of his battles, and on top of that, has so much skill and speed. So he can make you pay at any moment if you give him too much time and space. So I'd say he's the toughest in the league.
My third question is, when you're an amateur, what advice do you wish you had gotten at that time that you'd give to an amateur now?
I would say, I'm looking back, when I was playing, biggest advice I would probably, the biggest advice I'd probably tell myself is to stay even keel. And when I say even keel, it's more so mentally. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. There was times when I was playing in the GTHL where you'd have a bad game and you'd be driving home and be like, oh my goodness, I'm never going to make it to the OHL. And then you'd have great games and you say, oh, I'm the best player in the GTHL. Like, you have to find a balance. One that keeps you hungry each and every night. So when you have a good game, you're not just happy about the good game. You want to work on things and find things in your game that you could be better at. And two, when you're having an off night, just to be able to, you know, not brush it off, but learn from the mistakes that you made the night before, and just, you know, when you get to practice, get back to work and just move on. And I think that's something something that I have now that I wish I had going into the OHL, that I wish I had coming into the NHL. It's just having a mindset of, you know what, some days are going to be great, and on those great days, I still need to find things to work on, and some days are going to be bad. But you got to know at the same time you're still bad, or you're still a good player. And you got to find ways to, you know, stay even keel, just get back to work, and do that each and every day.
I have another question. Have you ever faced racism or been grouped because the color of your skin, or been like, how'd you handle it?
Yeah, I've definitely faced racism. Faced it more so probably around your ages, and in minor hockey. When I got to pro, then seemed to didn't seem to face it. My, you know, I in my mind, whenever someone would stoop that low, it usually meant that was a much better player than them, and that was where it kind of kept my mindset that, you know what, if you have to stoop that low and that's where you're going to go, I'm going to make you pay for it. I'm going to make you pay for it on the ice. You know, either the puck's going to be in the back of your net, or you're going to be coming over the blue line. I'm going to light you up. It was one or the other. That's, you know, it's sad that, you know, that we have to deal with that. But at the same time, I think those experiences that you have, that no one else is going to have, you know, they don't make you, I wouldn't say making you stronger, you know, is the right way to put it. But I mean, those are experiences that, you know, you're going to face adversity. That's probably one of the highest points of adversity that you're going to face in the season, when someone stoops that low, goes to racism, puts you in a group based on the color of your skin. And what you do from that is you just prove people wrong each and every time. And know that if someone's stooping that low, you know, if someone's going to say a racial slur to you, you know, and stoop that low, they don't have the character or the drive to make it to the next level. They don't. Like, that's just not in them. So for you, and this was what I did growing up, was, you know, just take that, use it as fuel, and prove everybody wrong. That's all you can do.
My next question is, have you ever felt that the color of your skin has held you back in any way?
You know what? Honestly, I don't think it's held me back in any way. And I say that, you know, I say I don't think it's held me back, because anything I've ever put my mind to or fully dedicated myself to, I was going to make sure I put in every single inch of work, every single inch of myself, whether it was in the schoolroom, whether it was trying to make it to OHL, to the NHL, to make Team Canada teams. I was going to put in so much work, so much effort, and when I went on the ice, I was going to prove it. If I had to be 2 times better than the player to my right because he was white and I was black, that's fine. I was going to make that happen. I wasn't. So in my mind, the color of my skin, I was always, when I grew up, you know, my dad always warned me. He goes, you know, if you're in an even playing field, or have the same numbers as someone that's white, sometimes just based on the optics or you know, how the player looks, they maybe just expect them to be better. So in my mind, I was always going out there to prove that wasn't the case. I was always better than any cat, whether they're white, black, it didn't matter. Whoever I was competing against, I was going out there to prove that I was better than them. And I think that mindset each and every night and each every day, whether it's practice, game, school, like I said, it's that type of mindset is probably why I feel like to this point it's never held me back.
My fourth question is, do you feel that there's racism in the NHL? And if so, how did you deal with it?
Yeah, I haven't faced any racism in the NHL. I know, you know, some people probably have. In the NHL, I haven't faced any racism within the team, within the organization. outside with fans and stuff, there is for sure racism. You know, you get the DMs after games. I've gotten DMs from people from, you know, 13 years old to 50 years old. Like so I've seen it all, and you know, for me, it's one of those things. Like, if people are going to stoop that low, and in today's day and age, and you all are growing up, and you have social media where people can make these, you know, say racist things to you behind an egg emoji, you know, and never have to show their face. For me, it's just eliminating that completely from the realm. So I don't even go through, you know, my DM requests and whatnot. I only speak to the people that I'm friends with and close with, and so yeah, I've faced it through fans, but never through the organization or through teammates.
My last question is, do you personally think that the NHL is doing a good job to be inclusive? If so, how, and what are some more things the league can do in your eyes to make it better?
Yeah, I think over the last year and a half, the league has been pushed a little bit more to be more inclusive. I think that there's definitely still areas to grow. I think there's programs maybe to invest in. There's ways. For me, I think it's important, as you know, as a player of color, to, you know, when I grew up, I watched Jerome McGinley. And Jerome McGinley was huge to me because he looked like me. That's why I could see myself playing in the NHL. And I think there needs to be more people of color within the NHL. And how do you do that? I mean, there's obviously starter programs and you know, learn to skate and whatnot, but you know, I think it's a big disadvantage to people of color, because, you know, usually their parents are you know, scraping together all the money that they have to be able to put them through hockey, so they're not able to have the trainers and, you know, the off ice trainers and the on ice trainers, and be able to grow their game in the off season. I think those are more so programs that, you know, kids at, you know, 15 to 18 have the opportunity, or even, you know, 13 to 18 have the opportunity to have access to these trainers, so that they can move on to, you know, major, junior, or to the NCAA, and then it gives them a better opportunity to play in the NHL. And then, you know, Dexter, you, Nathan, and Nolan are all watching people in the NHL that you can see yourself being, and I think that's very important.
I have one last thing to say. Thank you for having us, and I will be watching you carefully on TV to learn from you.
Awesome. I'll be trying to put up some good principles on the ice for you to learn from, and off it.
Anything else? All good? All right. Thank you so much, Darnell. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
All
Nice meeting you all.
Nice meeting you too.
Yeah.
Thanks, Darnell.
I don't want to see any of you in Leaf jerseys. That's all I'm saying. Okay.